Another exciting episode where we had an expert on board was talking genders. So we're going to reveal right now who's the best at negotiation, men or women. And let's just jump right into it.
Playing around with discussing and experimenting a bit in terms of whether machines make better negotiators than humans. And of course, we found that, well, there are occasions when perhaps they do. We need to think more and more about how we integrate humanity in machines. But then somebody said to us, well, actually it's men that's the problem. If you have women negotiators, everything turns out great all the time. So
is that the case, Tim? Men is the problem. If we just replace them with women instead of machines, then every problem in the world is solved.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Sally told me.
Now, that was actually the interesting question that we were asking, and let's hear from an expert what she had to say about this topic. Oh, I just wanted to show this picture talking about genders and negotiation. I'm sure some of you have seen this picture on social media. This is a powerful group of business executives in Germany who was meeting in Munich discussing important affairs. Is there anything specific about this picture you think is interesting? And this picture is actually only a couple of months old, by the way, guys. So back to what we heard on several keynotes during these 2 days. I don't know how much actually changed, really, but we can hope for something in the future. Anyway, let's look at the comments. Now, Hannah, one of the things that I want to talk to you about today, and I think will have an interest to our audience, is that lots of studies are actually claiming that in several situations, women are outperforming men in negotiation. Whether they are better negotiators or they're just doing better at the negotiation table, I will leave that question up to you to be answered. But
I would predict where there's a bunch of their kind of expectations of competition, that could work in men's disadvantage. They may be kind of poised for competition or conflict in a way that women may not be. Now, as we've also discussed, things can also, when things get hyper feminized for women, that can also work against them, because sometimes women feel a need to compromise too quickly, to be too agreeable. And they may have women to do significantly better negotiating on behalf of others than for themselves. So,
isn't that interesting that we have an expert saying that men are too competitive at the negotiation table, which I agree with, by the way, 100%, but at the same time also say that women are great negotiators, except when they are negotiating in their own interest. I think that's very interesting, isn't it?
It was fascinating, and of course goes back to our big debate in many ways around this issue of collaboration. That so there is this tendency among some men, at least historically, perhaps it is diminishing, but it was that tendency towards more of a win-lose mentality.
Right.
And therefore, when women were more open, and they talk specifically, I think, in that program about the tendency of women to be more generous in sharing information and data.
Right.
And the men at the table cringing, shut up.
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, the irony is, of course, as we discover more and more, that greater openness is, in general, going to lead to a better result.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the takeaways here, as our expert Hannah was really saying, is that the combination of the two genders is obviously the perfect solution. And I see the same in my work when I'm advising clients and working with students. The best outcome, the best negotiation teams are mixed genders teams. Teams with just men ends up in a competition, and teams with just women ends up in something else. So it's really the combination that is great, exactly as Hannah pointed out. So I'm a strong believer in that.